Good morning, class 9. Today we are going to start a new chapter in supplementary reader, The Beggar. What induced the beggar Lashkov to change his ways? Let us read and find out. Kind sir, have pity. Turn your attention to a poor, hungry man. For 3 days I have had nothing to eat. I haven't 5 kopecks for a lodging. Children, some meanings are also given in our book. The word kopek means a Russian coin equal to 1/100 of a ruble. I haven't 5 kopecks for a lodging. For lodging means for the place to stay. I swear it before God. For 8 years, I was a village school teacher, and then I lost my place through intrigues. That means through the evil plans made by others. I fell a victim to calumny. Calumny means the making of false and defamatory statements about someone in order to damage his reputation. That means if a person makes a remark or a statement for some other person, false remarks, but such remarks can defame him, bring bad name to him, and it can harm his reputation. That is called as calumny. I fell a victim to calumny. It is a year now since I have had anything to do. The advocate, Sergei, looked at the ragged, fawn colored overcoat of the suppliant. Suppliant means a person making a humble request to someone in power or authority. Here, the suppliant is this man who has come to meet Sergei. The advocate Sergei looked at the ragged, fawn-colored overcoat of the suppliant, at his dull, drunken eyes, at the red spot on either cheek, and it seemed to him as if he had seen this man somewhere before. I have now had an offer of a position in the province of Kaluga. The mendicant went on. Mendicant means the beggar. The beggar said this. I have now had an offer of a position in the province of Kaluga. But I haven't the money to get there. That means I have been offered a job in the province of Kaluga, but I don't have money to go to Kaluga. Help me kindly. I am ashamed to ask, but I am obliged to by circumstances. Sergei's eyes fell on the man's overshoes, one of which was high and the other low, and he suddenly remembered something. Look here, it seems to me I met you the day before yesterday at Sadovia Street, he said. But you told me that you were a student who had been expelled and not a village school teacher. Do you remember? No, that can't be so, mumbled the beggar, taken aback. I am a village school teacher, and if you like, I can show you my papers. That means I can prove that I am not a student, I am a village school teacher. Have done with lying. You called yourself a student and even told me that you had been expelled for. Don't you remember? Now Sergei is trying to repeat and say again that no, you are lying. You told me one day that you are a student and you have been expelled from school. Now you are saying that you are a school teacher. Sergei flushed and turned from the ragged creature with an expression of disgust. That means he is a little disappointed. Sergei flushed, he is becoming very angry, his face is becoming red with anger, and he turned from the ragged creature, this man who is telling himself as a school teacher. He turned away from this man with an expression of disgust. He is very angry with him. This is dishonesty, my dear sir, he cried angrily. This is swindling. This is dishonesty. This is swindling, means cheating a person of money. This is swindling. I shall send the police for you. Damn you. Now Sergei is telling him that you are lying, you are cheating me, and I will call the police for you. Sir, he said, laying his hand on his heart, the fact is, I was lying. I am neither a student nor a school teacher. Now, when he sees that he is in danger, he might be caught by the police, then he is ready to speak out the truth. The fact is, I was lying. I am neither a student nor a school teacher. All that was fiction. That means false, imaginary. Formerly, I sang in a Russian choir and was sent away for drunkenness. But what else can I do? I can't get along without lying. He is saying that I am in such a helpless state. I am helpless. I have to lie. I have no other option. No one will give me anything when I tell the truth. What can I do? What can you do? You ask, what can you do? Cried Sergei, coming close to him. Work. That's what you can do. You must work. Work, yes, I know that myself. But where can I find work? How would you like to chop wood for me? Sergei is offering work to this man and he is saying, would you like to chop wood for me? I wouldn't refuse to do that. But in these days, even skilled woodcutters find themselves sitting without bread. That means even skilled woodcutters are jobless. Will you come and chop wood for me? Yes, sir, I will. Very well. We'll soon find out. Sergei hastened along, rubbing his hands. He called his cook out of the kitchen. Here, Olga, he said. Olga is the cook. Here, Olga, he said, take this gentleman into the woodshed and let him chop wood. The scarecrow of a beggar shrugged his shoulders as if in perplexity and went irresolutely after the cook. Now, a scarecrow of a beggar has been called to this man has been called as scarecrow of the beggar. And he went irresolutely after the cook. Irresolutely means hesitantly. It was obvious from his gait. Gait here means way of walking, style of walking. It was obvious from his gait that he had not consented to go and chop wood because he was hungry and wanted work, but simply from pride and shame and because he had been trapped by his own words. I am repeating this line again. It was obvious from his gait, from his way of walking, that he had not consented to go. Consented means agreed. He had not agreed to go and chop wood because he was hungry and he wanted work, but simply from pride and shame, and because he had been trapped by his own words. That means because he had said that yes, he will do work. If he is given work, he will do work. That is why he went to chop wood, he agreed to chop wood. It was obvious too that his strength had been undermined by vodka. Vodka is a liquor, alcohol. So he had been an alcoholic, he had been a drunkard. That is why his physical strength had reduced gradually. It was obvious too that his strength had been undermined by vodka and that he was unhealthy and did not feel the slightest inclination for toil. Toil means hard work. Because he had been so accustomed to drinking all the time, since he had been a drunkard, he had not been doing hard work since so many years. That is why now when he was told to chop wood, his body was not used to doing physical labor. Sergei hurried into the dining room. From its windows, one could see the woodshed and everything that went on in the yard. Standing at the window, Sergei saw the cook and the beggar come out into the yard by the back door and make their way across the dirty snow to the shed. Olga glared wrathfully. That means Olga looked at this beggar angrily, furiously, wrathfully at her companion. Who is the companion? The beggar. Olga glared wrathfully at her companion, shoved him aside with her elbow, pushed aside with her elbow, unlocked the shed, and angrily banged the door. Next, he saw the pseudo teacher seat himself on a log and become lost in thought with his red cheeks resting on his fists. Next, he saw the pseudo teacher. Pseudo teacher means actually he was not a teacher, he was imitating to be a teacher. Next, he saw the pseudo teacher seat himself on a log wood. Who was the teacher? Here, the teacher was Olga. So, Olga has been called as a pseudo teacher. She was not a teacher actually, she was just by coincidence she has been called as a teacher because she was going to teach this beggar how to chop wood. Next, he saw the pseudo teacher seat himself on a log and become lost in thought with his red cheeks resting on his fists. The woman flung down an axe at his feet, spat angrily, and, judging from the expression of her lips, she began to scold him. The beggar irresolutely pulled a billet of wood towards him. Billet of wood means log of wood, a thick piece of wood. Irresolutely pulled a billet of wood towards him, set it up between his feet, and tapped it feebly with the axe. Feebly means weakly, with the axe. The billet wavered and fell down. The beggar again pulled it to him, blew on his freezing hands, and tapped it with his axe cautiously, as if afraid of hitting his overshoe or of cutting off his finger. The stick of wood again fell to the ground. Sergei's anger had vanished, and he now began to feel a little sorry and ashamed of himself for having set a spoiled, drunken, perhaps sick man to work at menial labor in the cold. Now, where Sergei was watching this beggar, and he was seeing that he tried 2 times, but he was not successful in chopping the wood with the axe. So he felt, now Sergei is feeling sorry for this man, and he is feeling that he has chosen a sick person, a drunken person, to do this menial labor, physical labor. An hour later, Olga came in and announced that the wood had all been chopped. Good, give him half a ruble, said Sergei. If he wants if he wants to, he can come back and cut wood on the first day of each month. We can always find work for him. On the first of the month, the waif made his appearance. Waif means this homeless person, this beggar. On the first of the month, the waif made his appearance and again earned half a ruble, although he could barely stand on his legs. From that day on, he often appeared in the yard, and every time work was found for him. From that day, he often appeared in the yard, and every time work was found for him. Now he would shovel snow, that means he would crush snow, now put the woodshed in order, now beat the dust out of the rugs and mattresses. So now different kinds of jobs, different kinds of work was assigned to him apart from cutting logs of wood. Every time he received from 20 to 40 kopecks, and once even a pair of old trousers were sent out to him. When Sergei moved into another house, he hired him to help in the packing and hauling of the furniture. This time the waif was sober, gloomy, and silent. He hardly touched the furniture and walked behind the wagons, hanging his head, not even making a pretense of appearing busy. He only shivered in the cold and became embarrassed when the carters jeered at him. Carters means they are people who transfer load on a cart. Those people who transfer load on a cart are known as carters. Jeered at him means they shouted at him for his idleness, his feebleness, and his tattered fancy overcoat. Since he was hardly doing any work, so the carters became angry at him. After the moving was over, Sergei sent for him. He called him. Well, I am happy that my words have taken effect, he said, handing him a ruble. Here's for your pains, here's for your hard work. I see you are sober and have no objection to work. What is your name? Lashkov. Well, Lashkov, I can now offer you some other cleaner employment. Can you write? I can. Then take this letter to a friend of mine tomorrow and you will be given some copying to do. That means you will be given some work of copying some text. Work hard, don't drink, and remember what I have said to you. Goodbye. Pleased at having put a man on the right path, Sergei tapped Lashkov kindly on the shoulder and even gave him his hand at parting. Lashkov took the letter, and from that day forth came no more to the yard for work, because now he was given the work of copying, so now he did not have to come here. 2 years went by. Then one evening, as Sergei was standing at the ticket window at a theatre paying for his seat, he noticed a little man beside him with a coat collar of curly fur and a worn sealskin cap. This little individual timidly asked the ticket seller for a seat in the gallery and paid for it in copper coins. Lashkov, is that you? Cried Sergei, recognizing in the middle man his former wood chopper. How are you? What are you doing? How is everything with you? All right. I am a notary now. Notary is a person who performs some legal work. All right. I am a notary now and am paid 35 rubles a month. Thank heaven. Now, when Sergei came to know that he is a notary and now he earns enough money every month, he is very happy. Thank heaven. That's fine. I am delighted for your sake. I am very, very glad, Lashkov. You see, you are my godson, in a sense. I gave you a push along the right path. You know, I gave you a push along the right path means I taught you, I was harsh with you at times, and because of my harsh treatment at that time in your life, I brought you to the right path. And because of that, today you have become a notary. You see, you are my godson. I gave you a push along the right path. You know. Do you remember what a roasting I gave you? That means how I scolded you, how I treated you at that time. I nearly had you sinking into the ground at my feet that day. Thank you, old man, for not forgetting my words. So, Sergei is very happy that because of that harsh treatment which he gave to this man 2 years back, that he has become a respectable notary now and he is earning enough money. Thank you too, said Lashkov. If I hadn't come to you, then I might still have been calling myself a teacher or a student to this day. Even Lashkov is very thankful to Sergei because he says that because I came to you, I came to the right person, I came to the right place, that I am what I am today. Otherwise, still I would have been leading a false life. I would have been telling others that I am a student or I am a school teacher, and I would have been a false man. But now I have changed myself completely. If I hadn't come to you, then I might still have been calling myself a teacher or a student to this day. Yes, by flying to your protection, I dragged myself out of a pit. By flying to your protection, that means by coming under your protection, by coming to you, I have been able to drag myself out of that false life which I was leading, a bad life which I was leading. I am very glad indeed. Thank you for your kind words and deeds. I am very grateful to you and to your cook. God bless that good and noble woman. You spoke finely then, and I shall be indebted to you to my dying day. But strictly speaking, it was your cook, Olga, who saved me. He is saying that no doubt I am indebted to you, I am thankful to you, and I will remain thankful to you throughout my life. But actually, if I am thankful to some person, that is your cook, Olga. How is that? Now he is asking, Sergei is asking, how is that? When I used to come to your house to chop wood, she used to begin, "Oh, you sot, you! Oh, you miserable creature! There's nothing for you but ruin." And then she would sit down opposite me and grow sad, look into my face and weep. "Oh, you unlucky man! There is no pleasure for you in this world, and there will be none in the world to come. You drunkard, you will burn in hell. Oh, you unhappy one." And she would carry on, in that strain. So Olga used to continue to speak these harsh words to this man. I can't tell you how much misery she suffered, how many tears she shed for my sake. But the chief thing was, she used to chop the wood for me. Do you know, sir, that I did not chop one single stick of wood for you? She did it all. Why this saved me, why I changed, why I stopped drinking at the sight of her, I cannot explain. So he was so thankful to that lady, to that cook. Although she spoke such harsh words for this man, but she was too much worried about this man's future. She was very much worried what kind of a life he's going to lead in future. She was ready to help him out in whatever way she could do. That is why this man finally become a changed personality, and the credit goes to Olga. She did it all. Why this saved me, why I changed, why I stopped drinking at the sight of her, I cannot explain. I only know that, owing to her words and noble deeds, a change took place in my heart. He was so thankful to this lady Olga that because of the noble deeds of that cook, that he changed himself completely. He decided to become a good man and lead an honest life, a decent life. Owing to her words and noble deeds, a change took place in my heart. She set me right, and I shall never forget it. However, it is time to go now. There goes the bell. Lashkov bowed and departed to the gallery. He went away to the gallery. So, this is how sometimes you must have seen, children, that some harsh words, if a person speaks some harsh words to you, you might feel bad at that time, but maybe some harsh word clicks to your mind, clicks to your heart, and that will become the turning point in your life. So similar was the case with that beggar. Although he was not used to doing hard work, he was a drunkard, he had spoiled himself completely because he was in a habit of drinking. He had no experience of doing any physical labor. He was leading a false life. He used to tell lies to the people. Somewhere he told he was a school teacher, somewhere he told he was a student. But when he came and was under Sergei, he was working under him, and the cook Olga, when she spoke harsh words to him, although at that time those words must not have given this beggar a pleasant experience, but they became a changing point, a turning point in his life, and he decided that he will leave all those bad things which he had been doing till now. He did not drink now, he did not speak lies now, and he became a changed person, a completely honest man, a completely decent man. Finally, he becomes a notary and he earns an honest living. So this is how some people are responsible for changing the lives of others for good. So this is a very beautiful story which we have read today. Please read the story once again, and then you will understand it definitely better. Thank you, children.